Alright everyone, welcome. This is Crystal and this is my part of my collaboration video with Arson Darksy, and her channel is called Prideless Chicks, and I'm happy to be working with her, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I don't have these, it's like these are my old charts from like 2018, 2019, when I used to do, when I did my transvestigations, and I would do long ones with an anatomy lesson. So, anyways, one thing I'm going to be looking at quite a bit is the Q angle. The Q angle, like this is a male skeleton, and it's like the femur inserts into the pelvis at more of a vertical angle. And with the female, it comes down more at a wider angle. It's more of a wider angle. Like it starts further away and it comes inward towards the knee. And I'm going to deal with the clavicles a lot. And I actually have a photo where it's a photo that I had seen of a real, and I know that it's a real female, and it's a skinny one. Because people try to say, well, the collarbones are sticking out like that because they're just a skinny girl. But you'll see that that's not the case. But basically, the Q angle is a big difference. With males, you'll expect to have 3 head widths across the shoulders. So, and Rihanna has a very large skull, and a larger skull is a trait of a male. Now, it's like a female they might think, well, I have a big head or something. But it's like the biggest, like, human male skull is always going to be bigger than the biggest female skull. And also, one more thing I wanted to point out is that the waist indentations for a female go above the navel, because that's where, on a real female, they're above the navel where the waist indents, because that's where the pelvic bone ends, is above the navel. The pelvic bone goes up higher. On a man, they'll have what's called an Adonis belt, and that'll be like basically 3 inches below the navel is where the Adonis belt will be. And also, females, for the most part, now, it's like I'm looking at markers when I make videos like this. So it's like I'll look for about 15 markers. And so if someone, like some women may have arms that are slightly longer than crotch length. But I know me, and like my older daughter, my mother, like people that I've known in my life, it's like if you pay attention, females usually have where their hands are ending, and that's why this diagram is not that reliable there. But the arms, females have shorter arms and a shorter humerus bone. So it's like the hand will be ending around the crotch length. This shows longer, which is, I guess, one fallacy of this chart here. But here is a picture or pictures of male and female skulls. The male skull, you'll notice right away, is larger overall. Now, not all males' skulls are going to be larger than all females, but in general, a male has a larger skull. They will have more of a brow ridge and more of a sloping back forehead. Females generally have more of a vertical forehead and a flatter brow bone. Also, the cheekbones are not as prominent, and the jaw on a female just kind of slowly curves. It kind of just comes up and just blends into the spot where the ear is. It's just like real gradual. But with the male, you see how this is like more like a 90 degree, it's almost a 90-degree angle, the square, thick, boxy jaw. And males generally have their eyes spaced further apart in the skull. The dental arch is larger. But, yep, I'm just looking at some of these because I haven't pulled out these charts in probably 4 years because I don't usually do transvestigation videos anymore. But it used to be one of my strengths. So I figured I had to get back into it for this video. I figured it was important because there was guys on my Facebook talking about how they'd like to do things that I can't say to Rihanna. And I'm like, I just posted a comment like, don't you realize that that's a dude? I said, that's a D-R-A-G. And that's, why do you think the skull is so big? Honestly. This is one of the, it's like, I would think that this person wouldn't pass at all as a female just simply because of the skull. And you'll see that in some of the later photos. So I'm just going to go down these one by one. And they're not, it's like some of these are they're adulthood. I have others that are childhood. And the childhood ones are really telling. But you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. With this, what I saw here is that it's like the arm is kind of splayed away from the body, but there's long arms here. And so the arm, if this character put their arm down, it'd be like here, which is a lot of times, you know, males might have arm length that's halfway down their thigh, or even I've seen it even approaching the knee. But this one doesn't have super extremely long arms, but they're still like a full hand length below the crotch level. Because crotch level will be like at this level, but in the front. And that hand is away from the body. If this arm is straightened down, it'd be down here. But this is a board and a straight flat back. Also, that's one thing I haven't mentioned yet. Females naturally have curvature in their back. Like with their neck, basically from the neck, their spine will curve outward a little bit, and then it'll curve inward. Their back will curve out from the neck, and then it'll be out, and then it'll curve inward around the bra line, and then it'll curve back out around the rear. But in a male, it's straight and flat, and it only curves out slightly right around the rear, which is what we have here. Also, I don't want to scrutinize anymore on this picture, except for the flat back. You can see it's just 100% flat, which is not a female trait. It's a male trait. Because, I mean, just look at females around you. You'll see there's some curvature in the spine. Like it curves out a little bit around the neck, it curves in around here, and it'll flare back out. And that is the curvature in a female spine, is to help a female carry it, to offset the weight where the female can carry their pregnancy to term. And you might ask, well, Rihanna was pregnant. I seen her stomach. And it's like, no, you saw a moon bump. And you can look up, I didn't look up and go deeply into a moon bump in this, but you're free to look it up for yourself. But right here, I don't know if this looks like maybe a repeat of the same picture, but just it's a board and straight flat back. There's close up of it. And this person also had been a lot skinnier, and nowadays it looks like they've had a lot of work done. Now this right here is a perfect example. Okay, look. Now, large skull, wide set eyes. Now, I've talked about with people that are part or fully African American or black, it's like they can have a thickening of the brow, like in the forehead area, and they don't have to have an extremely thick brow ridge and a sloping back forehead. It can be more of like the forehead is just thick in there in the front, in the brow area, and then it rises up in a rounder fashion. So it's still consistent, and a large mouth. Males have a larger mouth in general and a larger dental arch. And that's one of the things that I didn't go over, but I knew I was going to be going back to the chart. See how the dental arch on a male is much larger than on a female. It's more petite. But yes, the main thing from this is that if you just look at the width of this head, you could fit 1, 2, 3 heads on those shoulders. So it's like the shoulders don't present as extremely wide compared to some people that we look at, but on a male, they don't have to be extremely wide, because we got other markers here, like this completely horizontal, straight, protruding collarbone that goes completely flat and straight all the way to the edge of the shoulder on both sides. And we got 3 head widths right here. Wide set eyes, square jawline. And then the pointiness of the chin, it's like they might have a naturally pointy chin. Oh, I'm going to look at the childhood photos more. Okay. Here is yet another picture of the flat and straight back, and there's where it curves right above the rear. I think they've had some work done in the legs, because I've seen them in different poses, different times. It's like I think they might have had fat injections or something done with this rear, because I don't think it's natural. Because they were skinnier, and especially now they're built up a lot more, but I think it's just silicone or fat injections. This is flat and straight all the way down. Flat and straight all the way down, curving at the very bottom, which is consistent with the male. And also the hips are really narrow. I wouldn't try to tell a Q angle from behind, but no, you can just tell like large hands and long arms overall. Okay, this here, right here, is our smoking gun. And then, okay, celebrities, like you'll think, well, their waist goes in above the navel. But it only does that if they can lean to one side and make it look like they have an indent. But no, where their indent is right here. This is the Adonis belt. That's the end of the pelvis right there. That's the top of it. The end. Right there and right there. Those little lines that come down towards the crotch. And look where it ends. It ends right here, 2 or 3 inches below the navel. Like I said, was consistent for a male. Also, if you look how the legs go. Don't look at this like extra hip. Could be fat injections, surgeries, etc. But look how straight and up and down this leg is. How straight and up and down the leg is where it inserts into the pelvis. It's completely 100% straight up and down. There's no Q angle at all, Ariana. And the Adonis, that is a classic Adonis belt. And it could have been, and if you look at this, they look real shiny. It's like the detail and the resolution is not real good here. It's not. It looks like it's been doctored up with Photoshop. Like, but you can still see it. Even if they put Photoshop on it, it's still an Adonis belt. That's the top. So, I mean, right here, this is impossible for this to be a female right here. Because there's the navel. And there is the end of the hip bone below the navel. With a female, they'll have a natural, see, this is a flat side over here. It's flat. They're leaning, so it looks like somewhat of an indent, but with most females, the indent will be more pronounced, and they won't have nothing down here. That's an Adonis belt. That is too. And then, it's like in this one looks like, it's been smoothed out also. But look, crotch level, and oh, yeah, there was something weird going on. It looks like some kind of bulge, something. It looks really small. And it looks like something is bulging there underneath the suit. Which, if someone's tucking, if they still have their parts, they'd be taping all those parts underneath, you know. They'd be trying to tape them and tuck them probably down towards the gooch area, you know what I'm saying? But if it were to slip, but you know, if you're taping and tucking, like, those parts want to be hanging free where they are. So if you try to tape and tuck them down, they might be pulling from the tape, and it might get little skin bulges in there, which is like what that looks like. It doesn't look like a female part. It looks like something else is going on in there. Do you see it? This little bulge here, something else is going on in there. Long arms. There's the crotch, the hands. If they straightened out their arm, their fingers fully, they'd be down here. That's well below. There's the Adonis again, which I believe has been airbrushed. And we have another straight side. I mean, this person achieves about as much indent on the waist as like Britney Spears would. But then Britney has the blazing Adonis below the navel, like way more severe than this person. But no, this is just a straight and flat person on both sides. They also can remove a rib so they can make it where the waist draws in above the navel, but it doesn't matter when you've got an Adonis there. Because the Adonis belts, it signifies the top of the pelvic bone in a male, which lies 2 or 3 inches below the navel. Also, we have our collarbone that is straight and flat and horizontal all the way out to the edge of the shoulder. This, I think it's a doctored picture. They've tried to smooth it out. I think they've tried to make it, because we just saw in the picture before this that they're not, it's like they're trying to make them look curvier and more feminine. But no, this person has wild, I think they messed with Photoshop, like with the shoulders and everything. But we seen something in the crotch that didn't look right. Okay, this picture I picked because you can see the brow ridge is pronounced. And males have deeper set eyes. Like the brow ridge will be kind of protruding here, and the eyes are set back deeper into the skull than they are on a female. And then right here, you have the edge of that square jaw. It comes down and then forward. Very boxy jaw. Thick brow. Wide set eyes. And large mouth is what I see there. This one's really telling for me. And it's like I wrote Arson a message, and basically I was telling her what I saw when I looked at this photo. And what I see is a young man that looks depressed, sad, maybe ashamed. Maybe it's like they want to be who they really are, but they just can't. It's like they look defeated in the eyes and sad, like they've been stripped of their dignity. And they dress them up. Here's these protruding collarbones again, but it's like they dress them up like basically a prostitute that you could see walking down. Like if you pick a street in Houston, you could find one that looks like this. That's a male prostitute street walking at night, trying to sell their arse for money. But yeah, it's like it's a face. You just take away this hair and it's like it looks like a man in makeup. It's like I don't want to even try to break down, like try to scrutinize this picture too much. It's just like you can see. Can y'all see? Tell both of us in the comments. Tell me and Arts in the comments if you can see that this is a man face looking back at you. And it looks like sad and shame, and there's all sorts of emotions coming out of the eyes and the face. It's sad, really. But it's the parents that sold this character out. This is from Umbrella. Now in this video, it's like they showed the pyramids, and then there, of course, there's Jay-Z in it, who is super satanic. We already know. But they're dancing around with this umbrella, and then they open their legs, and then they put this umbrella right down between their legs. To me, they're signaling like a phallic symbol, obviously. They're putting this right there between their legs. And then if you watch the Super Bowl halftime show, this character was dancing and grabbed their crotch. And grabbing the crotch is something that people would think is something associated with Michael Jackson, which people thought was a man, which was inverted also, but it's like it's something that people would associate with a man doing. But yeah, just open legs and the umbrella hanging down between the legs. Here's for this B Better Have My Money. We have a classic male skull. A thickening of the brow in general. Perfect view of this long and square jawline. Huge jaw in general. Huge skull. Larger ears. Deep set eyes. You can see the brow ridge there and the eyes are set back. Large mouth. I mean, how redundant do I need to be? Square jawline. Square jawline. Because in the past I used to be super redundant, but it's like, either you have the eyes to see it or you don't. Here is this dude once again. And if you look down the back, they're turned sideways. There's the curve in the back right there. Consistent with a curve a male has right above the rear. There's no inward and outward curve of the spine. It's completely 100% vertical, flat, and straight. All the way down. Okay, here is from Umbrella. Of course, in Umbrella, it was Orange Edition, and Orange is 33 in numerology, which stands for Freemasonry. Really, you can see right here, there's the shoulders. They're wider than the hips. Because they add on this leg. They could have done injections in the thighs to make them look, because that's what I believe has been done, to make the thighs look more feminine. But you still have a 100% flat and straight torso on both sides right here. You have bored, straight, flat, wide shoulders. 1, 2, 3 head widths there. And in here, they also dressed this character up, and then she had a hat on, like a top hat basically, and a tie, and then this is like basically like the suit. And so it's a haha joke that they do with these celebrities. They'll dress them up in a suit, like in a men's suit. It's a haha joke where they are letting us, it's a wink wink haha, that it's really a dude. And you can see that it is by the straight and flat sides here. Like there's the hips. This is the hips. All this is just leg slap-ons here. Hip, shoulders are wider than the hips. Right there. Females also will have sloping down shoulders, where they slope downward. These are just completely straight across shoulders. And we've already looked at the collarbones, which are also straight across. Okay, here, it's like, wow, look at Rihanna with Chris Brown. Now, who is the male in this picture? No, it's just that this picture is ridiculous. You can see that there's like, the hairline is all pushed back, but they've got, this person's famous, so they've got all the, beauticians in the world, makeup artists and hair, everything to try, like they have all the money in the world to make this person look as passable as they can, and that's the best they could do. Just huge skull, set back eyes, square jaw, wide. Look how much wider Rihanna's mouth is than Chris Brown's mouth. Look at the long arms and the big hands. Also, with the male, if they put their hand over their face, their hand will cover up like their whole face, like from chin, like to their top of their forehead. And these hands would do that. Very big, long hands. And then look at, and part of this picture has A$AP Rocky, and there's the crotch level, and there's the hand. I'm telling you, these people are all suspect. Anybody they're with. And what do? It's like they have the technology now where they can they can do like in vitro fertilization and create a test tube baby where they can take the DNA from two different, because these people are like, for the most part, they're sterilized. At least, like, if, like, let's say this is an inverted female. Well, it's like from all the male hormones they've been on their whole life, they would be sterilized. But it's like at this point they have technology where it's like they don't have to have the egg and the sperm viable. They can take the DNA and they can create, like through cloning technology, they can splice the DNA and create an embryo and put them in a real female surrogate. That's how I believe that these celebrities are having these babies. If you try, I can't pull it over any further, but that's the crotch length. The hand is right at the crotch length. Just look at the difference in skull size right here. Look how much longer the neck is. Also, males have a longer neck than females. Just in general. Males will have a longer neck, larger hands, longer arms. Look also at Chris, how there's no definition in these cheekbones. They're flat. Females will have flatter cheekbones. This character is just, wow. Now, here's another example of this haha joke. Because Britney Spears, like I was telling you already, like here's in the man suit, just minus the hat, where it's like she took the hat off already. Rihanna did in this video at that point. The hat came off already. But this is Britney in Me Against the Music. Once again, it's like the same exact type of thing. The hat, tie, man suit. And that's what they're showing right here too. Just a different kind of variation of it. The same basic idea though. And then she had on a hat, like a hat you would wear with a dress suit. It's a man suit. Here is Rihanna with, it's like one of the things I notice straight off is that the head is larger than this supposed dude. And it could really be a dude. You know, there's people out there that would want to date a celebrity just because it's a celebrity, and they wouldn't care that it's really a Baphomet. But no, you can also see how the eyes are set back right here into the skull. They're deeply set. Male gaze. This person has a really fierce gaze in their eyes also, and that's one thing I didn't go over. They have the gaze, like a male will have a more intense gaze. Like when they're looking at you, they have stronger energy in the eyes. Also, it's like I noticed the knees are kind of bony looking. Males have bonier looking knees in general. The feet are so long. Males also have trouble finding these high-heeled shoes that will fit them. And here we are with Rihanna's feet are protruding off the end of these shoes. Huge feet. Too long. They can't find shoes to fit. They're protruding out. It's like a man is not going to be able to wear, like, shoes like this are made for a female that has more dainty feet in general. These are long, huge feet coming off the end. And also, number one, here's another thing. They're wearing like a man's sport coat. They like to play these games. They like to show us. And they're doing the X pose, lobbing one leg over the other like that. I've heard in the you know, T-VESTIGATION breakdown community that if they're doing this, that a real female, I've tried to stand like this, I can't stand like this. No way in hell. It's like a female has trouble standing like this because of our Q angle, our hips insert at a wider angle, so it's really difficult to lob one leg over the other and stand like this, especially in shoes like this. But the males have their hips are vertically, their femur goes into their hip, their leg goes into the hip vertical, so it's like it's a lot easier for them to do this pose where they cross the one leg over the other. I've also heard that they do that because they're tucking. I don't have all the answers. I'm just breaking down the anatomy. This is a baby picture of Rihanna. And wow. It's like, look, it looks like they did some sort of lame Photoshop job here, and they inserted some kind of pigtails or something on the head, something up here. But if you just block all this out, if you just block all this out, that's a picture of a little boy wearing a little boy's outfit as well. That's not a little girl outfit. That's a boy outfit. 100%. And there's more. The childhood photos are really telling. Here's once again where, look, boy pants, boy shirt, like a male looking polo shirt. And they come in here, I believe they've come in here and doctored this up, and they just could have had just short, they're like, he could have had the short, kind of froey, fuzzy hair, but not these pigtails here. I think that's been inserted. But even if it hasn't been inserted, it's 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 a little boy with pigtails. Either way, wearing boys' clothing. Just looks 100% like a boy. It's like, wow. Here we go. More. And then there you can see something in the throat. Because this person has had a lot of work done. Had a lot of work done since they got put on the masses. But just look at this. Just forget about this hair back there. Like, you know, their parents could have had this individual grow their hair long, but still. It's a boy. It's a boy, and it's like you can see the skin breakouts, and like in this photo you can actually see like the pores and the skin quality. Like males will in general have rougher skin with more noticeable pores and stuff like that, and that's what this looks like. A young man that's trying to make themselves look more feminine. Hairline receded, extremely receded right there. I see something protruding in the neck, like a little Adam's apple right there. Because, you know, once this character got brought onto the scene, it's like they're going to make sure their hair was done good. They're going to make sure that they've used Photoshop that if they did have a breakout, that they would have products to clear that up. But no, you can actually see the pores. If I zoom in too much, it's like I lose quality. But yeah, you can see they have, like, what is going on with this hairline? It looks like the skin is pink. I don't know if that's from their hair being braided too tightly, and then it caused some of the hair to be lost. I'm not sure. Because I don't have ethnic hair. But yeah, it's a boy. And you can see how much more masculine, like if you take away this hair, make the hair short, you can see that it's a boy. Here we are once again. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. This is a picture with the mother, supposedly. But these characters, it's like there's no telling. Like a lot of times the backstories with the characters are fake. But in any case, look how receded this hairline is receded halfway back across the head. And a hairline receded is something more likely to be on a male. Look at the squareness of this jawline. It's just insane. Look, straight down and then forward. Down and then forward. Wow. That's one of the boxiest jawlines that I've broken down on this channel, really. The head is very large. The pushback, receded hairline. Male face. Male body. No chest. They look at an age right here where they would have something there. Absolutely nothing there. They haven't been, obviously they haven't been enhanced yet with surgeries. But yeah. That's your Rihanna, guys. It's a dude. There's nothing girly about this character. Nothing girly at all. But we're going to continue. Here, you can see the hips are narrow. There's no Q angle. Straight up and down legs. Very large feet. Knobby sinewy knees, which is a female could have, you know, bony knees if they're real skinny, but the bonier, more prominent knees are more likely to happen on a male, and that's what they do in Hollywood. Wide shoulders, hips. This is slap on, like I was saying, because they've done work here to widen the legs and make them look more feminine. But here's the hips. You can see at the edge of the shirt, there's the hips. The shoulders are wider than the hips. They're just built like a basketball player. Very large hands, just completely horizontal, wide shoulders, large skull, wide set eyes, wide mouth. I'm seeing a prominence of something here in the throat. Sometimes, you know, once they come here, they've had their Adam's apple shaved down, so it could be just prominent trachea at this point. Here is an interesting picture here, which I don't know how old this is, but still, it's like the arms are clasped. This person has been taught to keep their arms. Usually they have their arms crossed or held away where you can't gauge like how long they are at their side. If you see how long that is, if they're straightened out, they'd be like here. You know what I'm saying? Just big hands, long humerus bone here, square jawline, thickening of the skull and the brow in the brow bone sort of region. This looks like before. It's like they have more of a straight torso, but like I said before, they could have removed a rib. We don't know the order in which this person had their procedures done. They've had a lot of work. I know Arson found images that were showing also reflecting a lot of work. Here is another example. Oh, here is long arms. That's the crotch. Here's the hand. The hand's not even fully extended to the side. It's like they try not to show their arms against the side of their body. I'm sure these people would have coaches trying to coach them on how they can look, how they can not get figured out by people like me. But still, you can see, I mean, the large skull is prominent in every picture, but you can see the collarbone that is flat going straight out to the edge, and the complete devoidness of a Q angle whatsoever. Straight, the legs insert straight in the pelvis. Females should have an angle, and then the legs come down more of an angle towards the middle, but those are straight up and down. And this person just has really big feet. I looked up and they said they are a size 9, but no, they have larger feet than that. That's ridiculous. Now, there's a straight and flat back, a good view of it from the side. There's the curve right there. The only curve in their back is right there. I can see a long humerus bone there. Here was a good image of the crotches here. The hand is not even fully, the fingers are not fully extended. So we have crotch here and hands down here. Longer arms that reach further down as a male trait. This is one where you can really see the width of the shoulders now. Completely horizontal, straight across collarbone, straight to the edge. I see some muscle, like some muscle definition, and males they have less body fat, so they would have more muscle definition than a female would in general. You're always going to find, like, there might be the man that has more body fat or something, but I'm talking about in general. And I can take and break down this character and 50 others that are supposed, basically everyone portraying female on the masses in Hollywood is a dude. That's the point of this video for the most part. I could break down 50 so-called women in Hollywood and they would all have these same features, like the muscle definition, the straight across collarbones, the wide shoulders, the little hips here. It's just the same old. Very redundant. Now, this is a picture of a real girl that's just a skinny girl. Okay? You can see the edge of the shoulders out over here. But see, on a real girl, even a skinny, because people will say Rihanna's collarbone is sticking out because she's a skinny girl. It's like, no. See how the collarbone comes up at an angle and it ends up here? See how it's at an angle going up? And the edge of the shoulder is way over here. See that? Shoulders over here. Collarbone goes up at an angle towards the back, and it meets up over here on a real female. And just the more delicate shoulders and stuff. But you see that collarbone, how it goes up at an angle? Like the neck's here, and it goes up at an angle. There's the edge of the shoulder out here. This collarbone's up here. You see the difference? There's the edge. There's where the collarbone goes up. That was just such a good example. Here's another example. This is an example of another dude in Hollywood that has the similar thing where it looks like they look like they've possibly had a rib removed, so they're achieving, or they could be using a waist trainer, just compressing this area so that it cinches in more. But no, look at this. Protruding, flat, straight, horizontal collarbone all the way to the edge on both sides. See this? That's a male collarbone. That's your Wednesday right there. Just another example. This is a real girl. The collarbone starts out in the middle. There's a tendon from the neck. The collarbone starts out in the middle and it goes up at an angle. And the shoulders are way out here. Not way out there, not wide shoulders. I'm saying the edge of the shoulder is way out here, but the collarbone is going up all the way over here. It's vastly different than this. Straight across, protruding. It doesn't go up at any angle. It just goes straight across, straight to the edge of the shoulder. And this one that goes straight across, straight to the edge of the shoulder. The difference, the point I'm trying to get at is these horizontal collarbones belong to males. And this belongs, all three of the characters are thin, This belongs to a thin female. And it's just like night and day difference when you look at this, the difference between this. And that is written into every cell of this character's body. And so it doesn't matter how many slap-ons or surgeries that they do, they can't cover up some of these markers. And that's the ones I was trying to point out. So I hope you all have a blessed morning or night. And can't wait to hear what Arson has to say. Blessings.